Going to call the House Judiciary meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call for attendance?
Chair Leitner.
Here.
Representative Begol.
Here.
Wozniak.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
DeBoyer.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Schutte.
Here.
Carter. Hope. Here. Breen. Scott. Madam Chair, you have 8 members present. You do have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Rep. Schutte moves to adopt the minutes from August 20th. Hearing no objection, the minutes are adopted. Rep. DeBoyer moves to excuse absent members. Hearing no objection, absent members are excused. All right, next up on the agenda, we have House Bill 4664. Rep. Begol moves to report House Bill 4664 with recommendation as an H1 substitute. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chair Leitner.
Yes.
Representatives Begol.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
DeBoyer.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes. Schutte.
Yes.
Carter. Hope. No. Breen. Scott. Madam Chair, you have 7 yeas, 1 nay, 0 pass. House Bill 4664 is reported with recommendation as substitute H1.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, next up, we are going to hear some testimony on House Bills 4690 and 4691. Rep. Linting and Rep. Mueller. If you want to both come up together, we can just do them together. And if you want to bring your guest, go ahead, because I know that there's some technology that you're going to be using. So go ahead and approach the podium. This is in regards to some fleeing and eluding changes, potential changes in regards to minimum sentences. So you have the floor.
Well, good morning, Chair Leitner, members of the committee, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to testify on behalf of House Bill 4690. This bill is about one thing: holding criminals accountable for endangering lives through reckless, high-speed attempts to evade law enforcement. Unfortunately, Michigan has seen a dramatic uptick in fleeing and eluding cases, many of these resulting in irreversible tragedy, devastated families, injured officers, and innocent lives lost. Our law enforcement officers on the ground will tell you this issue is only getting worse. Not long after I was elected, I sat down with Police Chief Hamilton of Wyandotte to discuss how I could support his department and help create safer communities in Downriver and across the state of Michigan. Chief Hamilton has been sounding the alarm on this issue for years, often without the attention or urgency it deserves. There must be consequences to putting innocent lives at risk. We need real accountability. We need safe communities. That's exactly what House Bill 4690 aims to deliver. Current penalties in law do not provide an adequate deterrence against this type of unlawful behavior, which is exactly why our legislature needs to act. This legislation adds measured, tiered levels of mandatory minimum punishment that I believe will add an important layer of protection and deterrence against this dangerous form of crime. Joining me today is Police Chief Hamilton himself, who brings firsthand experience and insight into just how serious this issue has become, and I'll be happy to take any questions following his testimony.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, committee, for hearing this. It's an extremely important topic. It's one dear to my heart, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity. We'd like to start out with some video. This video is actual vehicle pursuits taken from our dash cam and body cam. This first video is a Wyandotte police officer who's attempting to stop a stolen motor vehicle. If you can. It's usually sound activates. There is sound to this video, so we may have to turn it up.
The lights turn on.
But it might be quiet inside the police car as well.
I
So
don't think that we could get the volume.
7-6, I activated on it. Northbound Ford, past Outer Drive.
Dispatch received.
be northbound. They're not going to be stopping. Northbound 4th Street, speed 65. Be accelerating. Speeds up to 75. Very light traffic. No traffic out right now. Road conditions wet. Northbound 90 miles an hour. We're going to be coming up to Schaefer. Oh, they wrecked. Send rescue. 2 cars.
Receive. 5-6 Station 5, Bridge 2, assist wind out at that crash.
We got a male trapped in the Focus. He appears to be unconscious. We need fire. He's trapped.
They've been notified en route.
7-9, we got a trapped 62-year-old female in the victim car.
So in that pursuit, it's a stolen motor vehicle. The driver of that stolen motor vehicle died. The person who he hit, the innocent motorist, a 62-year-old female, severely injured. Fortunately, she survived, but she has lifelong injuries. Now the next video is going to show you from the officer's perspective. It's his body-worn camera during the same incident. Note his the empathy that's coming from him. He's desperately trying to get this individual out of the car. If you look at the car, you can't get this person out. He's trapped in there. You have to cut this individual out. But yet he's trying his hardest to find any means to get him out. This is what we call PTSD. That's what these officers, that poor 62-year-old woman who was hit, that's what they're experiencing. They're going to suffer from this the rest of their lives, every time they go through an intersection. If you can play the body
So
cam.
just to be clear.
Oh, they wrecked.
that died is the one that was the.
The suspect is the
Yeah.
one who is deceased, yes.
Send rescue. 2 cars.
Receive.
Let me see your hands. Check on them.
You good?
We got a male trapped in the Focus. He appears to be unconscious. We need fire. He's trapped.
They've been notified en route.
7-9, we got a trapped 62-year-old female in the victim car.
Damn it.
So the next video actually just occurred on the 12th of this month. This individual, and we'll show it to you here briefly, but this individual, he has 3 prior fleeing eludes, 3. He's going to take our officer, he takes him on a chase through the city of Wyandotte, Lincoln Park, Ecorse, and Detroit. At one point, there's a train that's blocking the roadway, so he's forced to go along the railroad tracks. He still won't give up, and he gets stuck. He tries to exit on foot. The officer has a fight with him, tases him, and gets him in custody. So the video you're going to see is from the officer's body camera, and you're going to listen to the interaction between the suspect and the officer. It's a very short video.
You know you're not supposed to chase.
I'm allowed to chase.
Not from wheelie bikes,
We're wind up.
motorcycles.
We chase. Not. We chase.
I don't know what the law is.
Ran from the wrong city today.
Alright, that's the way I'm getting down there.
Can I just stretch my leg? No, forward. Look, I'm not going nowhere. Look.
So this career criminal, and that's exactly what he is. He's a career criminal. During one pursuit a couple of years ago, he nearly killed 2 of our officers. He's still not in prison. Okay, so on this day, when he finally gets caught, after this would be his 4th time getting caught, he's done it many more times, he berates the officer when he gets arrested. You're not supposed to chase. And the officer, you can hear the officer say, yeah, I can chase. It's because we don't have such a restrictive policy as other agencies. But a lot of these agencies throughout our state have a no chase policy or a restrictive policy, and that's empowering these criminals to run from the police. That is why we have so many pursuits today in lieu of, the past. The early 2000s, we had far less pursuits. In fact, the city of Wyandotte in the early 2000s, we averaged under 10 pursuits a year. Now we're just about 50 a year. If you want to please. So that suspect was distributing heroin and fentanyl for a long time throughout the Downriver area, just outside Detroit in our city. Our officers attempted to corner him in, as you've seen. We had vehicles pushed on, one on the back bumper, one on the front bumper. Despite that, he wanted to flee. So he did, with the officer attached to the car. What you didn't see there, you couldn't see as well, because I was out there that day, I seen it. And the officer who was drugged is sitting behind me. What happened was he missed a dumpster by a fraction of an inch. When I seen it in real life, I thought for sure if he would have hit that dumpster, he would have killed the officer. He throws his body. He was hurt, of course, but he survived. He continued to lead our officer on a high-speed pursuit, speeds exceeding 100 miles an hour, crashed into an innocent motorist, hurt that individual, rolled the car several times, crashed into a house, gets out and runs on foot. So if you want, you can play the next video.
Copy, roll over at Oakensville.
Send fire! Send fire! It's on fire! Sassy, get fire extinguisher! We need more units for the victim vehicle. Seven 6, they are pinned. Car's on fire.
It's not moving. Copy, car's on fire, vehicle is pinned.
Hey, can you help the other person make sure they're okay? Send multiple rescues.
Yeah, go ahead, 25. Alright, Station 4, permission to assist. He's on, he is fast.
He's a little wide.
7-6, be advised, we need jaws of life to get this person out of the car. They're stuck.
Stop moving! 7-6, rescue has been notified for multiple units. I have Southgate heading that way.
Hey, go assist them. Make sure they're okay.
See if we can get a tourniquet out.
Hey, can we get you out?
Units, do you need more than just our 2 rigs? Do I need to notify Riverview?
Anybody that can get here fast, we'll take them. Let me rip this door. Let me try.
So in this pursuit, this is actually a female that's driving that car. You know why she's running? She's drunk. But she knows if she runs, police aren't going to pursue her. We're actually getting calls on her for driving over 80 miles an hour going through intersections. That was before the police got behind her. Then ultimately, that officer attempted to stop her. She continues to flee down one of our streets. She hits a car in an intersection that's driven by a dad, and on the passenger side is his young son. She hit the passenger side of the vehicle. She ripped the entire back end of that truck off. She catapulted the tailgate of that truck inside a building. By some miracle, the victim survived. She actually survived, believe it or not. She's probably still in the hospital. She broke almost every bone in her body.
Is this the last one?
That'd be the YouTube, yeah. I think it's down there, yeah.
We just have one more.
Yeah, that's it.
But we begin tonight with a notorious felon known for wild police chases and courtroom outbursts back behind bars tonight. We want to thank you for joining us for 7 Action News at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Dave Llewellyn. Tobias Catron served time in prison for weapons and resisting arrest. Investigators say he recently cut off his tethers before his court hearing, but Wyandotte police said it should not have come as a surprise to anyone.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig takes a look at how it happened.
I'm not coming back.
That's Tobias Catron. He's only 26 and already a notorious felon who can't seem to get out of his own way.
No, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Wyandotte Deputy Police Chief saying that because after this chase Catron led officers on into downtown Detroit back in October, he says they knew if given the chance, he'd run again.
He has a history of running from the police and not cooperating with the authorities at all. We know he'll do that again.
In November, you may remember Tobias Catron was in a Wyandotte courtroom where a judge increased his bond to $500,000. And listen to what he told her.
GPS tether, house arrest. Please don't interrupt the record, sir.
You. I'll be downtown next week. They dropped the bomb.
He told everybody in that courtroom, including the judge, that he'll just go downtown and he'll get released next week. Well, guess what? Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
When Tobias Catron got to Third Circuit Court here in downtown Detroit, he was able to convince his attorney and apparently the judge that he needed to get back out of jail because he said he has a bad back.
He had stolen a car and he tried to get away and he had a bad accident and he broke his back.
Defense attorney Edward Taylor was even able to get Catron a parole absconder, a pretty sweet deal. Just 10 months in county jail for pleading guilty to fleeing Wyandotte police. All Catron had to do was turn himself in on Valentine's Day. But 2 weeks ago, police say Catron didn't just cut off one tether, he cut off two.
He will run into law enforcement again because of his history. The guy can't stop victimizing people and committing crimes.
Thankfully, just 2 days ago, the MDOC's absconder recovery unit found Catron hiding out in a house in Lincoln Park. Wyandotte Deputy Police Chief Archie Hamilton says Catron and anyone else who puts lives at risk by running from police in motor vehicles should get mandatory prison time.
They will not run anymore. Instead, they will park that car and they can run on foot. And that's fine. Let them run all day on foot. Our officers are trained for that. They'll chase them.
Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
These look like regular glasses, but what they do is...
So Tobias Catron is an extremely violent individual. And our officers have ran into him several times, including 2 fleeing eludes. He never went to jail for those fleeing eludes. He did go to prison eventually for shooting someone in the face. And those are the type of individuals we're dealing with constantly. And they know the formula. That's the problem. They know if they run, they can get away with any crime because it's a metaphorical free pass to do what they want. And that's what we're seeing because we got a lot of restrictive policies out there throughout our state. Not much we can do about that, but they know the police are just going to turn off those overhead lights. And they know if they do get caught for fleeing elude, there's no consequence.
Thank you. Rep. Mueller, do you want to address your bill?
Mine's just basically a trailer bill that the sentencing guidelines for this. But I'll just give a brief. I've been an officer that's been drugged by cars. You know, it just happens. It happened to me 3 times. And the thing is the chief is right. Once the state police decided that they weren't going to chase, a lot of departments followed their protocol. And what we have seen is, yeah, I mean, they're inherently dangerous, but that's part of police work is, you know, but you have to hold people accountable. The amount of stolen cars coming out of Flint, we have the same problem up in Grand Blanc Township, and Chief Rennie up there, he does allow his officers to chase. But the thing is they're just gonna keep doing it, and it costs innocent people their lives. I mean, whether you agree with chases or not, at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with them, but we still need to hold the people accountable that are doing them. And so, I mean, there's been cases where, people start, you get into a chase with a car, you turn on your lights and they're driving erratically, you stop it because it's so dangerous. They'll continue to run, and then they'll continue to get into an accident. Even if you don't chase, they're just going to take off from you, and their adrenaline's going because you get tunnel vision in high-speed pursuits. Anybody that's been in one, and I've been in numerous throughout my career, you kind of get tunnel vision, and so do the bad guys, and they don't think about the consequences. And as you can see, with that last individual, those are the type of people that we deal with. Every now and then you get the person that, won't stop because they don't feel safe, but they're not going to get a mandatory minimum because no prosecutor is going to charge them for fleeing and eluding because they drove, to an area that they felt was safe. That's happened before too. It's fleeing in 4th degree, and they'll probably plea it down to something because everything gets pled down. Just like this last guy that should have been in prison for a habitual, probably 27th, right? But he gets a slap on the wrist, and he goes back out, he gets let back out, and what happens? He shoots somebody in the face. Now, if that person would have been in jail for a crime that they committed in our judicial system would hold these people accountable, that person that got shot in the face would probably still be walking. So it's not about whether you agree with pursuits or you don't agree with pursuits, it's about holding people accountable that put the public in danger and our officers in danger.
Thank you. So I just want you to help me understand better. So basically what you're saying is, your officers are making the arrests when they don't die or, end up in the hospital at this point. But is it mainly the prosecutors just pleading them down, or the judges not imposing sentences and following, I know sentencing guidelines are just recommendations, but how many people of the cases that are out there actually get prosecuted and get some sort of jail and or prison time?
So at one point, I actually reviewed all of our flee and eludes for the last few years. Not a single person actually did jail time for that flee and elude. Now, all my experience...
For any degree?
Any degree. The thing is, now, they will go to prison. At the time, we didn't have any first degrees. I would hope they would go to prison for first degree because that's actually killing somebody. But we don't get a lot of those. A lot of the cases, the suspect dies themselves. But at the end of the day, is the precedence has been set, right? Now, all of my experiences in Wayne County, nobody goes to jail for fleeing and elude in Wayne County, I can promise you that. Now, I have a lot of law enforcement friends, of course, throughout the state and throughout the country, and it seems like it's a common theme. It's not just a Wayne County problem. It's a state of Michigan problem.
Rep. Harris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representatives, thank you guys for bringing this. I'm sure you've heard this number a lot, but 26 years in law enforcement. I know former sheriff over here, Representative Bagol. We probably all have countless stories of innocent people being hurt by people that are fleeing and eluding. It's a problem. It's been a problem that's, I think, progressed to the point where if we don't take action, shame on us. I had the same experience, Chief, where I saw early on in my career, very few people fled, right? Or they bailed out of their car and they took off on foot, right? And as these policies started being more restrictive, the law was not, forcing minimum sentences on these people. There was no accountability. So why not run, right? Because the police were not going to chase you, or on the off chance that they did, even if you got caught, nothing was going to happen unless you were committing another crime along with it. I think we need to take some action. We need to back the men and women in law enforcement and protect our communities at the same time. So thank you for this. I'm entirely supportive and look forward to working with you guys more. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Harris. And we appreciate your support with this. And for me, watching those videos, obviously they're devastating no matter what, but when I watch those videos, the one accident was on a street that I walk down regularly in Wyandotte. That's a place that, you know, my constituents call home, and they like to believe they're safe. But unfortunately, we're seeing increased cases of this throughout Wayne County, Macomb County, Oakland County, and it's really putting a lot of innocent people in danger. I know just recently in Macomb County, we had an innocent guy who was driving for DoorDash to support his wife and new child who was killed in the crossfire of one of these incidents. And we just cannot continue to victimize criminals, and we need to start holding people accountable for their actions.
Thank you. Rep. Goal.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to each and every one of you for bringing this issue forward and all the hard work you're doing on it. Your assessment is spot on. 32 years in law enforcement, like Representative Harris said, and we've seen the uptick in things. I think with the departments having the no pursuit policy, I think it sends a message to the punks and the pukes that, yeah, they're not going to chase, and oftentimes they do take off, and unfortunately, it's more the victims that get hurt or killed than it is the offender. So I applaud your efforts, and I fully support them. So thanks for this.
Thank you, Rep. Buckle.
Rep. Breen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for bringing these forward to the representatives. I don't think there's any question that I've been a big supporter of law enforcement, but this is what I want to know is, how does this compare to other states? Like, is there any evidence that shows increasing penalties are going to be an actual deterrent? Because we have judges that are issuing these sentences, and it's to my understanding that well over 85% of people who are convicted of fleeing and looting do serve jail time, but judges are elected by their communities, and they are elected because the community trusts their judgment to render the appropriate penalty. So how does this compare to other states, and how do you feel about wresting judicial discretion away from these locally elected officials?
So I appreciate your question. One thing that's clear is that innocent people are getting killed in these incidents, and that's something to take seriously. As far as how this compares to other states, I can get that information for you. What I can tell you, because you said, you know, how does this work in other states? What I can tell you is that not holding people accountable certainly does not help the issue. And so while I don't have right in front of me this second the impact this has in other states when we start holding people accountable, I can tell you with certainty that not holding people accountable does not fix the issue.
Well, no, I understand about holding people accountable. What I'm saying is we've got information here that shows that over 85% of people who are convicted of these crimes do serve time.
Right, and that's throughout the state of Michigan, I'm assuming, and we have Chief Hamilton here who can speak to Wayne County specifically, and I am pretty certain that's not the case in Wayne County.
I'll just step in really quick, and because I worked in two different areas in law enforcement. I worked in Washtenaw County and in Livingston County. I got in a pursuit one time in Ypsilanti, and the guy was PR bonded out. So that means he was let out basically that night. Before I even got out of dispatch with lien paperwork, he was already back out on the street. And so personal recognizance bond. And then, you know, some of you do know, like my very last call when I was already elected as a police officer, I was involved in a high-speed pursuit. It ended up in the suspect crashing. And it just happened, he happened to crash right in the front yard of where my kid gets off the bus. And when he got off the bus probably 10 minutes before this happened. And he was going 90 miles an hour, tried to pass a vehicle on the right, rolled it, hit a telephone pole, and then he fought with me, tried taking my gun and stealing my car. And this was in Livingston County. He got 12 to 25 years. So when you talk about, we don't like taking away judicial discretion, but we also need to make sure that judicial discretion is, in some cases, you know, yes, they protect their area, but like in Livingston County, this person lived in Flint. So Livingston County just said, we're going to protect our residences and we're going to put this guy away because he tried killing a police officer. Washtenaw County, you get in the same type of thing and they just let him out. So sometimes, you know, at the state level, we do have to come in and set these minimums because it's not consistent throughout the state. And just like I may live in Genesee County and Fenton Township, but I travel to Detroit. I want to still feel safe when I'm driving in the streets of Detroit that I'm not going to get hit by a car that's being pursued and then the person's not held accountable. So that's the only reason why I think from the state level, in certain things like this isn't like a victimless crime. It's not like all crimes have victims, but it's not like, we're putting, hard stance on drugs and you're going to go, you got a bag of crack and a gun, you get 10 years underneath, some federal law. No, this is holding people accountable that hit people with cars, and we need to have consistency throughout the state that since the police agencies have taken a stance, again, it's not whether you agree with chasers or not, but since they have taken that stance and haven't allowed their people to pursue, we need to have consistency throughout the state. So you can travel anywhere in the state and you'll be assured that if someone does run from the police, that they're being held accountable.
And I'd like to touch on this. So with that 85% number, because when you read that, it sounds like, wow, most people are going to jail for this. That is 100% an illusion. So we're missing important data with that 85%. And the data we're probably missing is what other crimes did they commit? Did this person flee after they committed a murder? Yeah, they're going to prison for murder, even in Wayne County. But flee and elude alone. And I would guess, I think it's a pretty safe guess, that Wayne County has the majority of flee and eludes in the state, in a lot of crime. In Wayne County, they will not go to jail for flee and elude. They won't. And in most other counties around us in Wayne County, they don't go to jail for flee and elude alone. I'm guessing that 85% number, I'm very shocked by it, but it is tied to other crimes. They committed crimes like home invasion, criminal sexual conduct, and homicide. That is what puts them in prison.
I appreciate that answer. I hope we can get additional information to show how this is playing out across the state, as far as who's getting convicted and who is not, and who's getting off scot-free and who isn't being held accountable. We should know these things, but I think it's also important to look at other states to determine whether or not these mandatory minimums, because we've tried them here in Michigan, they don't always work. So I am leery of proceeding with mandatory minimums in this particular area and removing judicial discretion, especially when we are seeing situations where we are seeing an increased uptick, obviously, with recent federal regulations and as to who is getting picked up and for what reasons. So I'm very concerned about taking this additional step, but I appreciate it. Those videos were very compelling, and I'm hoping to see some additional evidence to convince me to hit that green button.
Oh, one more question, and this is it. Shooty.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Chief
you.
Hamilton, just in your experience in Wayne County, is judicial discretion functioning to protect the communities of Wayne County and the public safety of the areas that you represent and are served to protect?
So overall, we have good judges. Mm-hmm. We have good judges and bad judges, everywhere, right? In regards to flee and elude, the discretion of guilty or not guilty is still there. They have due process. They're going to be someone who gets caught for fleeing the police. They're going to get judged by a jury or their peers or a judge. So they do have discretion in that respect. Now, as far as sentencing someone to prison for flee and elude, I can only make an assumption. The assumption is the precedents have been set. For years and decades, nobody in the state has been going to prison for flee and elude alone. So why?
And the word on the street for the criminals is that it's not a strong penalty if you do so, which is why they think they can get away with it.
So I can tell you, I have had the luxury of interviewing dozens and dozens of people who have fled from the police, and they have told me that, for one, they're shocked that we actually pursued them. And they've berated us, stating, you're not supposed to be pursuing us. They do view this as a free pass to go commit whatever criminal activity they choose. They will actually make the chase more dangerous. They will intentionally go into oncoming traffic. They'll intentionally increase speeds and intentionally find congested areas to increase the danger, because they view, or they think that department that's pursuing them, that maybe will meet that criteria where they have to turn those lights off. Mm-hmm. So that is what's going on.
Thank you.
There's no consequence.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here today and sharing your testimony. Obviously, more work needs to be done. We need some more information. It would be nice to see a breakdown of every county on fleeing and eludings to each degree. How many people were actually charged? How many were actually adjudicated and not thrown out? How many actually go to jail? And I know it's a little bit of work, a little bit of legwork, but it is accessible data that we need because we can't make our decisions based on assumptions without having the actual research in front of us. So over the next couple of weeks, I would appreciate, additional information and conversations and, maybe we can get there because we do want to make sure our communities are safe, our streets are safe, and the people that are out there, like, our former law enforcement here that we serve with as well as current are also safe in doing their job and keeping us safe. So I think it's movement in the right direction. And with that, I'm going to read in some cards. We did not have one of the people on Zoom at all. Chief Hamilton, as you wish to speak, you already did that and supported the bills. Mike Sauer from Michigan Fraternal Order of Police supports the bills, does not wish to speak. Gabrielle Dresner from Detroit does not wish to speak and opposes both bills, 4690 and 4691. And then, Eden Kinlock from FAM opposes the bills and does not wish to speak. And that is it for right now.
Thank you, Chair Leitner.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we're going to hear next up, we're going to hear testimony on House Bill 4755, Rep. Nancy Jenkins-Arno, in regards to some consumer protections with ticketing. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair Leitner and members of the committee. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about my bill, House Bill 4755, which is a consumer protection bill. And actually, the idea for this bill came out of a personal experience that I had. My sister was visiting, and my brother and I decided to take her out to a play at the Croswell Opera House in Adrian. And I went online and went to purchase tickets. I thought I was on the Croswell's webpage and went through the whole process. And by the time I was finished, had made my way through, and was gone to checkout, it was only then that they had disclosed the full cost of the tickets, which included fees and different things, and it was at least double of what I paid for of what the ticket costs were. And so I called the number at the bottom of the website, and the lady who answered the phone said that it was we have to get paid as well. So she wasn't going to back out. She wasn't going to refund my money, anything like that. And so I never got the tickets, and I had to call my credit card company and ask them to stop payment on that purchase. So anyway, so that's the background for why I brought this. Since bringing this forward, I've also talked to other people who've had similar experiences, and this isn't something that happens one time to one person. It happens quite often. So my bill will ensure that the seller is prohibited from using an internet domain name or subdomain name in an operator or reseller's URL if the domain name or subdomain name used contains the name of the place of entertainment, the name of the event, the name of the individual or the entity scheduled to perform at the event, or a name that is substantially similar to those names without prior written authorization. The seller could not use, without prior written authorization, an internet website to display a text, image, graphic, design, or internet address that is substantially similar to an operator's internet website that could mislead a potential purchaser. A seller could not sell a ticket to an event without disclosing the total cost of the ticket, including the cost of any service charge or other fees that must be paid, or displaying service charges and fees less prominently than the total price of the ticket. They could not make a false or misleading disclosure of subtotals, fees, charges, or any other component of the total ticket price, or they could not increase the price of a ticket after the first time the price is displayed to the purchaser. There are some exceptions, like if they waited too long and the price went up just because for that reason or some other reasons, a few others. But so my bill is similar to legislation that's has been taken up in other states, specifically Colorado. And so this is a common sense approach to ensuring that we can protect our consumers in Michigan, and I would appreciate your support on the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. It's also my understanding you have Brian Young on Zoom right now in support of the bill and wishes to speak. So we're going to go ahead and call on Brian to go ahead and testify. And you just have a couple of minutes. Are you there, Brian?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. Chair Leitner and Vice Chair Bagul and Vice Chair Carter, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify in strong support of HB 4755 in its current form. My name is Brian Young, and I'm the Vice President of the Sports Fans Coalition, the nation's leading nonprofit advocacy group that fights exclusively for the rights of sports fans, whether that's fighting sports fan blackouts, advocating for consumer protections, and ticketing, or working towards pay equity for women athletes. We represent fans wherever public policy impacts the games we love. Now, the ticketing marketplace is perhaps one of the most opaque industries consumers interact with on a daily basis. Fans deserve a more transparent and fair marketplace. Much like elsewhere in the economy, drip pricing in the live event industry is detrimental to consumers, as it inhibits a fan's ability to accurately comparison shop. When individuals purchase tickets, whether on the primary or secondary market, they are routinely confronted with substantial add-on fees atop the ticket's face value, much like was discussed earlier. Shockingly, these extra costs are seldom, if ever, disclosed in the initial advertisements, and they only emerge as the fan enters the checkout process. Even though the Federal Trade Commission's new junk fee rule largely addresses this problem, HB 4755 would strengthen all-in pricing in the state by empowering Michigan law enforcement to stand up for fans when violations occur. Now, bad actors in the ticketing marketplace also use misleading URLs. They use imagery and logos on their websites, known as white label sites, to create an illusion that fans are acquiring tickets from the primary market or an official box office. However, in reality, fans are unwittingly engaging with a third party posing as an official source. Resellers should not be allowed to emulate a local small business website to trick fans. Many states have passed laws that prohibit these white label sites, deceptive URLs, or misleading website content. For instance, in 2024, following a large campaign from consumer advocacy groups, including the Sports Fans Coalition, Colorado set a gold standard for banning deceptive websites. HB 4755 is largely based on this effort. At the time, it was the only ticketing bill in the country which did not have any opposition and was supported by local venues, artists, and fans. We urge the committee to vote favorably on HB 4755 in its current form, and we thank you for this time.
Thank you. I'm just going to read in these cards while we're, finishing up right now. I have Matt Sowash of StubHub supports the bill and does not wish to speak. I also have Josh Stevens from Live Nation supports the bill, possibly with suggestions if interested, does not wish to speak. Representative, thank you for bringing this forward, this consumer protection bill in regards to the secondary websites. I have something similar to this. My first term, I did it in regards to government entities because we had a situation where people were getting emails from what they thought was Department of State, Secretary of State, to renew their driver's license or their tabs or whatever. But then when we went through the process, they got the additional fees, same thing. So we did do legislation. I think that was my very first term, for consumer protections, where it said they specifically had to disclose that they were not the Department of State, not a government entity, that they are that third party. So I was happy to read all of those things that are in there. In the bill itself. Any questions? Rep. Pope.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to reconsider the vote on HB 4664.
Okay, there's a motion to reconsider the vote on the motion. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go at East. Okay, we're back to order. All right, we are going to return back to House Bill 4664. There's been a motion to reconsider the vote, in which anyways, we're going to continue. There's a motion to reconsider the vote in which 4664 was laid out. Madam Clerk, will you please call for the motion to reconsider?
So Rep. Hope made a motion to reconsider. Chair Leitner.
No.
Representatives Begol.
No.
Wozniak.
No.
Harris.
No.
DeBoyer.
No.
Johnson.
No.
Schutte.
No.
Carter. Hope.
Yes.
Breen.
Aye.
Scott. Madam Chair, you have 2 yeas, 7 nays, 0 pass. The motion does not prevail.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I think I read in all the cards. We excused absent members. Just a note for in the future. You know, I get that we didn't have session today, and I appreciate all the members that are here. This does have a standing time, you know, and I appreciate getting a heads up when people are going to be late, but I would ask that you respect people's time and be here on time so you can, vote in the normal order in which we have proposed. With no further business before the board, before the committee, we're adjourned.